hats off to Lucid. This is a real entry. I love it. And if it drives, see, that's the one thing that we haven't tested yet, is how it drives, how it charges. If they take all the feedback that they've gotten from everyone in the industry about what to improve with this Gravity, and they nail it, they've got something very special there. Well, there it is, the Model X, looking proud here at Dick's Sporting Goods. But what is happening over here? Paddington is wearing a Lucid hat. What the heck is going on with you, huh? Do tell. Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where here I am in Norwalk, Connecticut, just doing a little Sunday morning shopping. And, you know, I've been watching all the videos, been super jealous that I didn't get out to the LA Auto Show. I was able to watch a lot of the videos and really start to form my opinion about the new Lucid Gravity. And I must tell you that I am super impressed. So look, I'm not going to make any secret about it. Why am I glad this car, this new Lucid Gravity, is not on sale today? Because I just bought this gorgeous Model X. And by the way, I love the Model X. And I am super happy with it. As a matter of fact, there really isn't anything wrong with it at all. There's everything right with it. But having said that, I do very much like what I see with this new Gravity. What I think I'll do is I'll start off by just giving some of my thoughts about the pros, maybe some cons, and then I'll leave you with my thoughts about strategy for potentially owning one of these vehicles at some point in the future. Just hope Kathy doesn't watch this video. But all kidding aside, I'm not looking to get out of this Model X anytime soon. This really is an incredible machine, and I just love everything about it. Having said that, I very much like what I see with this Gravity. So let's start with the front of the vehicle. You know, the design of the Lucid Air sort of carries over into the front of the hood. One of the things, though, when you open up the frunk, it is the frunk in the Air was massive, and I used that on road trips to put a lot of our storage. And one of the reasons why I didn't love the clamshell trunk in the Lucid, it was big and deep, but it didn't open very much, unlike a hatchback would, or like in this Model X does. But one of the things they did with this frunk is they turned it in almost like the way the F-150 comes down in the front, and it leaves tremendous amount of room. And they got super creative, I must tell you, the engineers there. This will be a theme throughout this video, that it seems like they've gone to school on the Air, and they went through grammar school and high school and college, and they got their PhD, and now they're out in the market selling, because to me, they've gotten seemingly everything right with this Gravity. That frunk turns into a little bit of a lounge. So I mean, I don't know if you call that tailgating or front gating. You go to the football games on Sunday mornings or Saturday mornings or what have you, and you can hang out. They even put cup holders up there, so I think that's pretty cool. You know, power as it was, the frunk is power. As you start to look at the overall vehicle, to me, in the pictures, it has sort of a minivan-esque feeling to it. It almost looks like a wagon that is lowered. The one good thing is that this vehicle does have air suspension, which I think is great. Now, by the way, the best part about the Lucid Air is the way it drives. And for those of you who have followed the channel, you know that I had a Grand Touring, amazing range, especially off the first charge. Not a great charging curve, but the charging infrastructure, CCS, that really just drove me crazy. And with the amount of road tripping that I do, I just didn't want to deal with the CCS infrastructure. And so for me personally, that's the reason I sold the car, not because of the car itself. The best part about the Lucid Air is the way it drives. You know, it had some niggles in there with user interface, which it seems that I know I was watching Kyle's video and he was meeting with the head of UX at Dave over at Lucid. And it seems like they've really gone to school on a lot of the things that were not really executed properly in the Air, or that needed to evolve. But, you know, back to the style of the car, of the SUV, I'd have to see it in person to really opine as to whether or not it has that SUV feel. But it is a crowded space. You know, look, there is the Model X, of course, which is competing with it. There's the Mercedes EQS SUV and also the EQE SUV. There's the Rivian R1S. You know, you could maybe throw the Escalade in there as well. It's a crowded space in that SUV market, and it would have been, in hindsight, a strategically better move for them to have come out with this Gravity 2 years ago when they came out with the Air, but they didn't, right? So, you know, it is what it is. I think that they're going to have tremendous success with this vehicle as long as they can deliver and stay healthy, right? As a company. So I do love the hatchback. It is a 7-seater. I was watching Kyle's video where he was talking to Peter Rawlinson, and he had some guy sitting next to him was 6'10" in the third row. I mean, that's an extreme example. I would think the third row is for kids in the back there. But I do like the whole, the way the glass roof comes all the way up. But one thing they didn't seemingly fix are the sun visors in that car. They still have those hockey pucks from what I could see. Again, I'd have to sit in it to really make sure that it's not going to feel like the Air did. See, when I'm sitting in this Model X, the windshield is just so far above my head, and I just feel super open. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. The Gravity will also deliver that similar experience. So again, the exterior of the vehicle, it looks really, really nice. And I think, you know, the fact that it is an SUV, the fact that it has the power trunk in the rear and a lot more room to be able to put whatever bicycles or what have you in there is going to make it a super practical vehicle. As in terms of sitting in the driver's seat, again, I can only go on what I've heard from people in the videos, but they seemingly nailed this user interface and just the posture and everything. You know, I think that the screen that was in the Air, or that is in the screen, are actually 3 separate screens. And what they've done is they've gone to an OLED screen in across the big, I think it's over 30 some odd inches wide. And then instead of having this little screen that sort of disappears or comes out, they've put a fixed mount screen in there as well. And one of the biggest niggles that I had with the Air was the fact that I wanted to be able to put CarPlay down below and have the navigation of the car up above, and you couldn't do it. And to my knowledge, you still can't do that. Please correct me if I'm wrong for all those Air owners out there. But now, what I saw when Dave was giving Kyle the demo of the UX, you can do that. And that's great. They have all these modes in there that give you these, like, I don't know, graphical images of the desert or the ocean that will put you into some amazing moods. They have some intelligence built in. If the car knows your birthday and you get in the car, it wishes you a happy birthday when you get into it. You know, those types of things are nice finishing touches. But software and the experience of the software, if I were to say anything negative about the car itself, the Lucid Air, during my ownership experience, it would have been the software. The lagginess sometimes of it, although it did get much better. I really like what I see with this Gravity UX. And so I think that's quite amazing. The center console, the way that they've actually designed the center console, I couldn't charge my phone in my Lucid Air. I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max, and I would put it in vertically, and it just wouldn't charge. You know, in the X, the way I have it now, it's great. You just put it on the pad and you can see it as an extra screen, so I can run Waze there and have almost a second, or in this case a third screen, because I have the screen in front of the steering wheel, and it really works well for me in this Model X. But they redesigned that entire center console, and it looks amazing. The other thing is the steering wheel itself. It's kind of a new, I guess they're calling it squircle, sort of a square circle. Um, Tesla went from the round steering wheel when they brought out the Model S, the Palladium, the Refresh, and the X, and they went all the way to a yoke. And I do not like the yoke. When you're doing hand over hand, if you know, it's, to me, it's a little bit, I'll just say it, I think it's dangerous in a panic situation. And what they've done with the Lucid Gravity is they've flattened out the top and bottom of the steering wheel and have it rounded on the sides. And they did that so that you have complete visibility of the screen, as you do in the yoke with a Tesla. But this seemingly works. As a matter of fact, I do trust Kyle's opinion. And when he first saw it, he was like, kind of, I don't think I'm going to like it, but he did like it. He's very particular about steering wheels, thickness of them. He says they got that one right. I happen to like thick steering wheels. He likes thin steering wheels. To each their own, but apparently the steering wheel is a little bit more on the thin side. The glass roof, that's one thing I'm going to have to sit in and really experience, because for me to give up this glass roof in this X, it's just a surreal experience. And if they can capture that, or if they're able to capture that, and they don't ruin it by, with the execution of how they do these sun visors in this car. I know I've been very vocal about that, but the way the Lucid Air had this gorgeous glass roof in the Grand Touring and the Touring, was amazing, but it just got ruined by the sun visor. I hope that is not the case with the Gravity. Now, they're claiming that this car is going to cost under $80,000. They're claiming that it's going to have 440 miles of range. But what I would doubt is that you're going to get 440 miles of range for 80 grand. Let me explain. Apparently at the Los Angeles Auto Show, they showed a Grand Touring edition as well as, I think, a Dream edition maybe. They had two editions there. They weren't showing the lower spec trims, and of course these are pre-production cars, and they really do look gorgeous. I think they've nailed it. But it's interesting that they're saying 440 miles of range in the same sentence as 80 grand. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, an amazing value. This vehicle, as it sits here, this Model X Plaid with the 19-inch, with the 20-inch wheels, has an EPA rated range of 333. And we all know Tesla is a little generous when it comes to their stating of their EPA rated range. The range on my Lucid model, the Air Grand Touring, was insane. It was amazing. It was incredible. I could go from here in Connecticut to Boston and back on one charge, and I didn't have to deal with the CCS network. So, but I have a feeling they're going to be coming out with a smaller battery pack on the cars that are 80 grand. They say they start at 80 grand, which will be great from a tax credit standpoint for those that can qualify for the federal tax credit. But I'm skeptical. We'll see. I mean, I think that the theme of where I'm at with this car, the good news is that I can't buy one today. If I could, I'd have a very interesting conversation with my wife, especially after just buying this Model X, that chances are I would not switch. I think I would probably stay with this X because I love it so much. It's going to take a lot for me to get rid of this X. I know a lot of you people are laughing and chuckling and, oh, Dave's going to flip. This car is something that I am going to keep, unless something comes along that says, wow, that is tremendously better. There are things about this Gravity that I really do like, and I can't wait to see it. So that's my theme here. I'm going to do a wait and see on this. The fact that Lucid finally came out and announced their alignment with NACS, I would imagine that by the end of 2024, when this vehicle first comes out, and the beginning part of 2025, there will be no adapter, that, it'll be native NACS built into the car, which will be great. And so, I'm expecting that to be the case. One unexpected thing would be is if they really truly deliver a car with 440 miles of range under 80 grand. You know, obviously that would have the non-leather seats. Um, you know, Lucid, you got to be careful with Lucid because, you know, Kyle asked David, the UX, about whether or not the car is doing lane changes yet when he was talking about OTA and over-the-air updates and, you know, and about quality control over-the-air updates. And we got so many of the over-the-air updates, small ones. You never really knew what they were doing, but they were working behind the scenes for sure. But you know that this Dream Drive Pro was, at least when my car was bought, was a $10,000 option, and it still didn't do lane changes when I sold it, and not that long ago. And so, you know, the answer that David gave is that yes, through software updates, it will do lane changing, automatic lane changing. And so, to me, I don't know. That just seems like that thing better well have automatic lane changing. I'm not a big fan, as most of you know, about FSD in the city. I think that Tesla's just, you know, that's just not for me. But driving on the highway with the adaptive cruise control, with lane centering, I'm finding that the changing of lanes with, I have full FSD on this car for 3 months on this Model X. I really do like the ability to have the car change lanes on highway driving. I hope this Gravity has that by the time it comes out. Little things also like in the UX, in the air, you know, it wouldn't even show cars on either side of you. Um, and so you would just see what you have in your lane and what's in front of you. And at least in the demonstration that Kyle showed in his video, I'll put a link to that in mine below. Um, it had some incredibly good graphics showing the cars on either side, motorcycles. The details that I saw on the 18-wheeler just were far superior to what Tesla shows on their screens. But at least Tesla showed all the different traffics, and the amount of data that Tesla shows on the screen when you're in FSD is insane. And there was such little data there. And so, you know, and I mean, they say 80 grand, but in order to do lane changes, are they going to say, oh, you need Dream Drive Pro and that's another 10 grand? And then the other thing is, this Model X has the most amazing stereo system of any car I've ever owned. Um, it blows everything away that I've ever heard. And I wasn't that impressed with the Lucid Air's sound system. Sure, it was good. It was more of a purist sound system, and you know, it wasn't like overly highs or overly lows, and it was good. But they charged like 4 grand more for that system, the Dolby Atmos system. I hope they don't sort of unbundle their pricing with Dream Drive Pro and Dolby Atmos, and you start adding and adding and adding, and next thing you know, okay, you can get, you know, you won't get the glass roof, but you have to pay extra for that, and you know, if they come out with a Touring or a Pure, you know, this thing could get pricey pretty quickly here, and so those are sort of my concerns about the vehicle, but I really love the way this thing looks. There's no doubt the technology that's built in, the engineers that are over at Lucid, everything about that vehicle, the high voltage that it's able to support, and the whole design and the foundation of that vehicle, it's sort of ahead of its time in a lot of ways. But you know, as we start to see more V4 chargers be deployed with 1,000 volts, I think this whole issue of when I charged my Lucid Air at a Magic Dock and only got 46 kilowatts, that's going to go away. So look, time is on my side as a consumer now to evaluate what this vehicle is going to really truly deliver at the time of when they bring it live. And in the meantime, I've got an amazing Model X to enjoy and drive today. But one thing's for sure, I think it looks so good that if I were, and I don't want to douse any fires on Lucid Air buyers, but you know, if I were considering a Lucid Air, I might say, you know what? Maybe I'll wait for the Gravity and maybe not take delivery of the Air today. That would be me. I'm not suggesting anyone should do that, but I would say that if it's only a year away, and they're promising under 80 grand for 440 miles, and it looks as good as it does. I mean, on the car that Kyle was looking at the LA Auto Show, it had 22-inch wheels in the front, 23-inch wheels in the rear. I mean, there's no way that, you know, I would even want that. I would get the smallest wheels, I'd get the most range, and you know, are they going to come out with that in 2024, or is it going to be the Mac Daddy ones that are super expensive with all the unbundled options that are pretty much mandatory? Probably, I would think. Maybe I'm wrong. So the wait and see is where I'm at. And in the meantime, I'm going to drive my Model X and I'm going to love it. But I will say this. Hats off to Lucid. I've done my best to be able to provide my feedback from just watching videos. It's hard for me to really be able to, you know, truly deliver a review when I'm not there. I can't see it. I can't sit in it. The little things, but it's just, you know, the little things that they've done, like the angle of the rear doors opening up almost 90 degrees. There's a little tray in the back seat where you can put your laptop or your, I like all that stuff. That's thinking about the consumer. And I think that's really a smart thing. So I think what they've done is they've learned a lot with the Air. They've taken everything they've learned and seemingly put it into this Gravity. And I think they got themselves a hit with this. Get it out onto the market as soon as possible, Lucid. You need to do it. We need to see it. And thank you for putting all your energy into this vehicle. I, for one, am super impressed with this new Gravity. So anyway, thanks again for at least taking time to listen to my opinions about Lucid. I know that Paddington is wearing his Lucid hat. And the Lucid, by the way, the Lucid hat, it stays in this car all the time. And the reason is because for those people that are doubters about whether or not I like Lucid or don't like Lucid, I love Lucid. I've watched this company since day one. It really was my dream car to buy it. I just couldn't handle the charging. So the fact that they've gone NACS, the fact that they're now bringing out the Gravity, I'm super pumped for Lucid again here, guys. But I'm not switching anytime soon because I can't. Thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave. Take care, and we'll catch you in the next one.